I want to take a moment and talk about how the ATF is literally tracking your gun-related searches and your ammo-related searches. And I think this is something that a lot of people may or may not believe, but the reality is they've actually published this, and that's what we're going to talk about. So this information is published information, like what they have found out by tracking your guns and ammo searches and what they can learn from that. And it really is gives them the ability to foresee the biggest threats to what they believe should be outlawed and banned. And so we're going to kind of talk about that. We're going to look at the published data as well, because again, don't take my word for it. Look at what they published. So I just want to kind of look at a little bit of this, and what they're looking at is ultimately they publish what's referred to as the National Firearms Commerce Tracking Data. And that's exactly what it is. It's a firearms commerce tracking data. And this is based on your Google searches, kind of what you're searching on Google. So I'm going to take a look at a couple things here. First, we're going to look at this table P01. This is essentially the 5 PMF Google searches, which is really going to give you the number of results of people searching for these things. And what you'll notice also is these are things that the ATF is after, things that they're trying to ban, things that they have banned, things that they're trying to make arrests for. That's what this list is. And because they're not looking at the things that they're not after, I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. Now, if you look at this data, ultimately what you see is you'll see the number of results. These are the number of results of people who have searched. And obviously, if there's like 10 people searching for these things, it's no big deal. They're not real worried about it, but they're banning it based on popularity. And when you have 4,830,000 people looking at it, well, then now it's getting their attention. This is the problem with this data, because it's going to show them what you're after, what it is you're looking for. But in addition, it's showing them that how you're learning about it, because they're also tracking YouTube videos. They're tracking different videos. I'm sure certain videos I've made, they've tracked. I'm sure videos you're watching, they're tracking. And this is the proof of that thing. All right, this next table is most popular searches based on years. And this really gives them kind of an idea of what you're looking at with, and I want you to kind of look at all these things for a second over the years. And you can see based on your searches when bans began, when the efforts for bans began, when these efforts for arrests began. It was around these same times that these things were very popular searches. And it goes all the way back to 2005. And again, if you historically look at the things that the ATF has tried to ban and when they tried to ban them, most of which is based off of these searches here. They correlate perfectly. All right, this next thing we're going to look at, these are trends in the biggest concerns for the ATF, where there's an upward tick in searches in particular things. These are moments in time that they are trying to really capture to kind of see how they can plan for the future in the ATF. It's really something that you kind of have to wake up to, especially if you're doing a lot of these searches. I do a lot of these searches. You do a lot of these searches, and that's where they're getting all this from. So if you're wondering if the ATF is tracking your guns and ammo searches, yeah, they are. And here's the date on it. Like, you can look this up yourself. Like, all this is right there. This is something that I believe as Americans, you definitely have to be aware of. You can't be ignorant to this thing. And that's kind of the point of this video, because I believe a lot of times people make searches thinking that it's really not a big deal. But you got to think about, like like if I'm just talking about gun searches, my phone's going to start telling me things to look for. You're being listened to, so to say, by algorithms, that sort of thing. And you also have to know that these companies like Google, they're clearly sharing this information. Like they're going to freely share it. They're definitely going to sell it. That's for sure. And the ATF is very interested in this data. Now, something I would like to make kind of just a side note is VPNs. I recommend buying a VPN. They're fairly cheap. You could sit there and put yourself in Switzerland on the internet, and the ATF won't be tracking who in Switzerland, what they're searching for. So you could be sitting in Kentucky with everybody on the internet thinking you're in Switzerland. And that's something that I'm going to kind of recommend, especially if you're doing searches when it comes to guns and ammo. It's just none of their business. It's none of their business. And that's really what it comes down to. And I think the worst part of this is why they're using it. They're using it to see what they see as threats on the horizon. That's why they're using it. And then they're kind of getting ahead of the game with making, the new rules and stuff that they make all the time. So before something becomes a problem, they can already see that it has a future of being a problem. Now, the other thing I want to say, especially when you see the uptick of searches, is the more the ATF and the government talks about banning certain things, the more people search for that as well. So it's something that you can't necessarily, just because there's an uptick doesn't necessarily mean that people are interested in purchasing those items. Sometimes they might just be curious what the heck they're even talking about in the first place because they've never heard of it. That happens to me all the time. There's things I've never heard of, and then suddenly it's in the media, and then I start doing searches, and I think that's kind of, definitely plays a role in why there's an uptick in certain things as bans start to become foreshadowed. So there you go. Are you being tracked by the ATF with your internet searches of guns and ammo? Yeah, you sure are, and here's the proof. Any thoughts or insight on any of that? Definitely put it below. Do want to take a moment, see most people watch the channel. Hey, they're not subscribers, click that subscribe button. Greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is also below. The most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, love guns.